Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia. Welcome back to Overcoach, and today we are on board with, I'm not sure how to say this name, so V3RM0S, or I'm going to call it Vermosis, or Vermos. I'm going to say that. I think that's a good name. Anyway, it's going to be playing the Baptiste here. They play support at a high plat, low diamond rating. This is a 2919 SR player, and they are on console. And we're going to see what we can do here. So, Baptiste, he can have a very big impact on a match. A very big impact on a match. Not only, you know, in a defensive support role, but also doing damage as well. So we're pumping him full of a little bit of healing while we get out the door here. That's perfectly fine. Reinhardt has been extremely aggressive. We're going to try and pump heals into him. This is all fine. This is all dandy. Genji's got 2 picks. Our whole team needs now to go in. Not quite like that, Reinhardt. I wouldn't go charging in. This is fine. This is fine. You're looking for the Hammond, but you can't get to him, so you've kind of changed your focus. You're a bit exposed here. Okay, this is better. This is better. And we're moving in. This is a roll of a point. This one. Okay, all pretty okay so far. Pretty okay so far. We are now going to have our amplification matrix available for the next fight. So let's see what we do with it. We're also coming up on a Genji blade. We may also get a shadow depending on the length of the fight. Where are we going? Okay. Our Reinhardt's gone main. Yeah. So we want to be with our Reinhardt here. We don't want to be going a different way to where our Reinhardt's going, really. Immortality for the Reinhardt to keep him alive. He didn't walk into it, so he died. But that's Baptiste things, isn't it? I mean, yeah. We just have to get out here and call it quits on that push. We need to not duel with them here. We need to not duel with them here. We need to get out. So, with your Reinhardt going in like that, he didn't step into the immortality field. That's just Baptiste things. Sometimes people step out of immortality fields. I've had it as well. I don't know what he's doing there. We need to not be too hyper aggressive trying to save that Reinhardt. If he needs to be stupid like that, then that's what he's going to do. We can't put ourselves at risk, is what I'm saying. We walked into the molten core. It was down there in front of us, and we walked into it. Oopsie. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, I think we knew we did that. We did that, didn't we? I think we know we did that. Again, you were desperately trying to heal up the Reinhardt. The Reinhardt have gone hyper aggressive. I'm glad you cancelled that, considering. The Reinhardt have gone hyper aggressive, and if a Rein goes like that, and he's completely out of your range and sight, there's not much you can do as a support. It's their fault at the end, and I know you're desperately trying to win the match, but it's better you keep the rest of your team up rather than focusing on that one person and then the rest of your team dying around you because you're dead. Heal the Reaper next to you. Oh, early use of immortality field right there. That's a rough one. We've put the amplification matrix down. We forced him off high ground, which is good. He's charging in like an idiot again. We just spam heals from up here. Don't drop down. You're fine from here. This is cool. This is cool. Heal your Hammond. Heal your Hammond. Then we drop down. I don't think there was a need to drop down there. Now we're at the mercy of the Tor Bolt. We're going to die to his turret if we're not careful. We drop down. Why did we give up high ground? From where we were, we could see literally everything. We had vision over the entire point. And we could do whatever we needed to do. We needed to pepper someone with some shots, that's fine. We killed them, that's good. If we need to launch in some grenades from our healing, for healing, we've got vision of doing that. If we need to toss in a immortality field, we can do that. Well, there was no need to give up the high ground there. Same as I'd be saying to an Ana, not to give up that high ground. And brawl on the point. Again, We should save them here, because that's... the fact is that's a pretty nicely placed immortality field, because it's behind the wall, so they can't actually kill it. And it saved them from the flux. But they shouldn't have used flux, because you'd already put it down. Again, there are two ways to use amplification matrix as well. It's putting it in front of your team and boosting your team's damage, or it's putting in front of you, boosting your output entirely, including your healing. So there's two ways to look at it. We switched to the Moira now to get back to the point faster, because we think this is a 1 point, or it's definitely stallable. Reinhardt's going hyper aggressive again. He needs to come back to point. He's lucky to survive. I like this switch to Moira though. We're going to brawl on point now. We're probably going to win this, yeah. Nice awareness to switch to the Moira instead of just plodding your way back as Baptiste. I like that. I like that proactiveness to switch and get yourself back into the fight as soon as possible if we know it's winnable. That was really good. Maintain your positioning at times. Just that jumping off high ground there was just a bit bananas. We didn't need to do that. Baptiste has got all the kit he needs that he can do that from that sort of range. If you were halfway across the map, where Anna can only really do anything, then yeah, I would be understandable about that. If you were playing Moira, where she has to be in the fight, then yeah, I'd be understandable about you dropping down. But you didn't need to drop down there, is what I'm saying. Immortality field, we're kind of having it forced out of us because the Reinhardt is going so hyper aggressive. We did get value out of it there with keeping both of our players alive when the Sigma flux went off, but in some respects that is a poor use of flux from the Sigma, because they should have known that the immortality field was up because you actually used it before the flux went off. So yeah, they should have held on to the flux and then used it after the immortality field had gone. But you got value out of it, and that's what matters. And you are keeping your Reinhardt alive most of the time. But to be quite honest, a lot of the time it's... this Reinhardt is putting himself in danger. It's not you that can, you know... a lot of the time you can't do much to keep him up with what he's doing. It's been good play so far though. And to be quite honest, he really doesn't look like a Platinum Reinhardt. Or a High Plat Reinhardt, anyway. We dropped immediately. D.Va's dead because she overextended massively. You used the immortality field to try and keep her alive. These tanks are playing so badly. She's fed a ton of ult charge to the enemy team doing that. Oh lord. At least you're building ult charge as well because you're healing them up. I like this. I like this. I like this up here. You've got no long range hit scan to deal with either because they're playing Mesa Metro. So I like that little position up there in the window. We didn't need to use that immortality field there. Remember, immortality field has a hellish long cooldown. So we need to use it in very ideal situations. Heal up your D.Va. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, just pepper it in. Just pepper it in. Keep him up. Keep him healthy. D.Va next. D.Va next. D.Va is not full health. Your Reinhardt is full health. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that either. Okay, now do it. You could place it in this doorway here. Is maybe a suggestion. Or maybe place it here. Yeah. Because you can have about healing here. D.Va's again overextended and not peeled back enough. They rotated to the other doors. So that's, you know, that's the case and thing. Okay, Hammond's got 2 boots. That's the end of this point. Okay. Again, your play's not bad. Your play's not bad. I mean, immortality field usage on that defense of that first point was a little bit iffy. A little bit iffy, but sometimes we had it forced out of us. That D.Va has used her bomb. Oh boy. She's got 2 picks. What the jeez. Okay. I don't know what that D.Va's doing. She's thrown her bomb away. Something chronic there, even though she got 2 picks. I do really feel sorry for you with these tank players because they are not playing well at all. And okay, they threw it away because they're switching to Winston. That's even more bizarre. Just Winston to deal with blooming Symmetra turrets? Okay. Okay, this is a good position. Pepper that in from there. Again, remember that we've got no long range hit scan to deal with. Don't be scared of that. Okay, nice immortality field. Again, they shouldn't have used that grav. They knew the immortality field went off. Ugh. Yeah, we're stuck here. They had a lot of ults to roll that with. So they use the grav when they're in a mortality field. The immortality field runs out, but after the grav, they can hit you with a blizzard, and then that kind of sticks everyone. They're playing a very oppressive comp. This is winnable though. We need to use our window. Keep everyone up from here. Everyone's coming back to shoot through your window. Why is the Hammond coming back to shoot through your window? Only the Zen should do that. Oh, Lord. It's cool. Keep your Winston up. Keep your Winston up. Pepper that ball. Nice, 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 nice. We return to a safe position. Nice high ground somewhere. Would be nice. He needs to come back. Okay, okay, okay. We're gonna return to up here. When the what is it called? Teleporter comes in. Don't panic. Just shoot. Just shoot it. Because I know you panicked off the high ground there. All she was doing pretty much was just sending 3 sentries through it. That's what she seems to be doing all the time with this teleporter, which is not exactly the most ideal usage of it. We have to be aware they now have a McCree though, so we have to be aware what positions we take up. We lost our Zen. We're gonna die, yeah. Overextension cost us, not your overextension, but the overextension of the team cost us there, but this is being turned again. I mean, they're running Zarya Devo. If you're wondering why there's no Roadhogs in this match, it's because this is pre-Roadhog patch. That's why there's no Roadhog. It would probably be a Roadhog Diva or a Roadhog Zarya in this case. In the new patch. I like your positioning though. You're staying very, very safe. Very, very safe. Oh, Zen. Yeah, maybe almost too passive. I'm not sure. That's a very big Death Blossom. The problem is, you see how that fight panned out, that you had no effect on it whatsoever? What we needed to do there is I would have jumped down and gone up to that high ground where you were shooting, and you could have peppered down the hallway. So perhaps be a bit more proactive with your positioning in terms of changing your positioning. And then when you know that they're coming down that hallway, say, right, I'm going to move over to this high ground. And then I'll be out of their range once again. Because the only person who can hit you right now is McCree. Or Lucio if he really feels like it. We have to be aware that the way in which we place our immortality field can be heavily dependent on whether it has an effect or not. That one there, I think, was slightly beyond the wall by the looks of it from this angle. And so if the wall is in the way of the immortality field, anyone that has the wall between them and the immortality field drone will not get the effect of immortality field. They will not be immortal. So it needs to be in that doorway. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, Diva's going to push us out. We're going to use immortality field again. We do not need to push forward. Why did we go there? The Diva was fully distracted with what was going on with your drone, so we could have stayed back in the corner. I don't know why we went to retake this high ground. At that point, that high ground was very, very well guarded by the McCree, so I think we needed to stay back there and pepper in from the low ground back, basically at spawn gate, if you see what I mean. And then we could easily dip back in spawn for some heals as well. We did not need to try and push through what was going on in front of us just to get back onto that high ground. Because, yeah, by that point, they're already in there. McCree's got a position at high ground. He's got a view of the entire point, and he had a view on you, and he was like, ding, ding, bye-bye. Yeah. No need to push through there and retake the high ground. Just take a more passive position near the gates of spawn and just launch in your healing grenades. Pepper in a bit of damage. Try and keep your team up and stall. Okay. So, we are now running a Brig. And a Ball. And a Reinhardt. And a Farah Genji. Okay, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Especially if you stick to this support comp and this... Okay, no, so switch to Reaper. I was going to say, if they stuck to Farah Genji, where was the healing coming from? Apart from Brig armor packs. Was this the patch that had armor? Maybe. I can't remember now. That's really aggressive from their own. We did not need to use that immortality field though. I think we could have kept him up without using the immortality field there. Genji needs healing. There's nothing you can do about the people on point. Now we need the immortality field. I think we used our immortality field too hastily there. We should be able to keep him up though. Nice. Okay. I was so enveloped in your play there. I wasn't really keeping an eye on what our win condition was. It was just a few ticks on one tick on that point. Anyway, so yeah. Your positioning overall is very good. You're actually quite passive with your positioning. Some Batistes will be a little bit more aggressive than that, and you could be a little bit more aggressive than that if you wanted to. Sometimes we were so passive that we didn't have a view on what was going on. So sometimes we'll take your positioning to try and do that. Your immortality field, a lot of the time it was forced out by very poor tank play. I will say that. We did see it negate a grav, and we did see it negate a flux, a Sigma flux. It negated the grav. Unfortunately, they had a follow-up with the blizzard afterwards, which is nothing you can do about that. They just steamroll with ults, and there's nothing you can do about that. The weird thing you did, especially at the end of this one, was, you know, pushing through what was going on in front of you, which was your teammates and your enemy team brawling, just to retake that high ground that you've been very much attached to on that second point. And then you expose yourself to the McCree, who killed you. We didn't need to push through that. We really didn't need to push through that. We could have just peppered in from spawn gate, and yeah, we would have been fine, because we could have just retreated into spawn if they pressured us, so they wouldn't killed us. And we could have also kept outputting all of that healing, all of that damage that we needed to output, and I think we would have been absolutely fine. We would have sustained, and maybe, just maybe, we would have turned that fight. Your tanks were hyper aggressive, and I think overall you did a very, very good job at keeping them up, especially as you weren't running like Baptiste Anna or Baptiste Moira or something like that as two healers with incredible healing output. You were very often running the Brig. You were running the Brig on the defense, on the attack, sorry. I'll get there in a minute. But yeah, I think you kept them up actually very well, which was pretty impressive. You run the Zen on defense as well, I think. You definitely prioritized the healing part of Baptiste's kit, which I really, really liked. Too many times I've seen Baptiste's prioritize damage. I've seen Anna's prioritize damage. It's not good. The only guy that perhaps should be prioritizing damage is Zen, because his healing is kind of unique in that way. Your immortality fields, I did see one that you kept using it on the door, the left hand side door as you defend of Hanamura second point, or it's the right hand side door as you attack, up that corridor, the choke, that door that leads to the choke and the high ground. You kept using it at that door. Very often your usage of it was pretty good. I think I did see one time where you used it and it went a little bit beyond that door. And I think the wall was between the drone and the corridor. A lot of it anyway. And we have to be aware that, you know, if that wall gets in the way of that drone and its functioning radius, anything that has that wall in between them and the drone will not get the effect of the immortality field. So they must have line of sight on it, is what I'm saying. So we have to be slightly careful in the way in which we place that. Your self-healing was fairly good from what I recall. Yeah, so I think maybe your positioning is a little bit too passive for my liking. Maybe a little bit too passive. But it's always better to be keeping yourself alive. You did very well to keep your tanks up. And you didn't really have much chance to get the damage out. Your windows were also quite passive, if I'm honest. A lot of the time you were using them on yourself to amplify what you're doing, which is a fine way to do it with Baptiste. It was weird the way in which both your Hammond and your Zen flocked to your corner-based window on the defense just to use it. The Zen can do it, that's fine, but the Hammond should have been on point. But yeah, you can't control what they're going to do. But apart from that, I think overall you're a very good player. Tighten up. I mean, there's been some really questionable tank play in this one, so it's tough to say tighten up your immortality field usage. But I think we were sometimes maybe a little bit over hasty to use it, I would say. So maybe rein that in ever so slightly. Put trust in what your healing grenades can do at times. Also, don't be afraid to rotate your high ground. Don't be afraid to rotate your position. Make yourself unpredictable. And don't get absolutely focused on one defensive spot and think that by all means you need to be there. You don't always have to be there. It's got to be the correct spot for the situation. And right at the end there, trying to rotate that high ground while so much was going on, and McCree had view of a whole point while he was on the other high ground. That was not the ideal time to be rotating to that high ground. We should have just maintained our lower ground position. But yes, that is I think we will leave it today. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.